Hey folks, today I'm talking to you about how to choose your camp toilet. Let's get into it.
Hit it.
Ben from Snowy's here folks today, and I want to run through today with you the range of portable toilets available to you if you're just setting up your campsite. I'm going to jump straight into it. Starting with the basic, these guys are just frames, toilet seats that sit over the top of a hole that you dig wherever you set up your campsite, preferably in a more remote location. I like this setup because you can dig a hole with a location. If no one's around, you've got a toilet with a view, and it's one of the freshest smelling toilets you'll ever use. Where it can get a little more complicated though is when you move on to porta potties like these guys here. They cost a little bit more. There's a few extra features to think about, and I'm going to run through that with you right now. Down in front of us here, I've got a few examples with a few different features on it to show to you now. I've got the Dometic and the Thetford brand here. Now there are cheaper brands in the market as well. Toilets are one of those things that if you go for a cheaper brand, you can end up with leaks when you don't want leaks, and you'll be wishing you just spent that little bit of extra money up front to make sure you've got no bad smells where you don't want them. These guys are made with good quality materials. You can get spare parts to replace anything that breaks or breaks down, and the units on the bottom where the wastewater sits are what's called hermetically sealed. So they're actually airtight, reliably airtight, so you're not going to get any leaks while it's in storage, in particular if it's sitting in your car. Now just looking at the basic differences here between the three, obvious one is the height difference. So we've got these two are Thetford here, two different models, two different heights. So obviously the taller people are going to appreciate a taller toilet like this. And the Dometic one over here is a very small version, very low to the ground. So if we come down to the front of the units here, look at one of the main differences, starting on the bottom on the waste holding tank here. Now, some of them will have a little waste indicator to show you how full the tanks are. There's one up here on the Thetford here. This one here does not have the waste indicator tank. So you find you pay a few extra dollars for one of these, but it can be pretty useful because it's a little bit nicer to look at this than it is to actually look inside the unit to see how full it is. Second, as we move up the unit, they've all got this lever here, which serves to open the little valve inside here, which seals off the wastewater tank at the bottom from everything else. So when that's pushed closed, that hermetically seals this wastewater tank on the bottom here. So looking at the lid, much the same. Once again, they've both got a lid that goes over the top and a folding seat in underneath that as well. And all the brands have their own version of a little flush sort of nozzle here, so that when you use the pump, it pumps the water in around the basin to wash the waste down into the wastewater tank. So far, not big differences between the brands. Where the differences do come into play is at the rear of the toilets here. So the unit's turned around here now. You can see the fill ports on the top. It's the top right hand side of each unit here as I'm standing. That's to fill the flush water tank in the top of the unit here. And on the other side is the pump to pump the flush water tank into the bowl and wash the waste down into the wastewater tank. Now this is where the differences come into play. So looking at this one here in the basic model in the Thetford, this is what's called a bellows pump. It requires a little bit of muscle to pump, but basically we push this up and down. It forces water into the bowl in under here to flush the waste down. Now this is the cheapest way to buy it. These are replaceable, but they can break down over time. You can imagine there's a lot of sort of moving plastic in there, and that's a part that probably needs to be replaced after a significant amount of use. This one here is a piston pump. This is the most popular option. It's much easier to use. You just pull this up and down. It forces water into the bowl inside and pushes the waste down into the wastewater tank as well. So much easier to use. You can also replace these, but don't need replacing as much as the bellows pump. And one other version is what Dometic use here, which is a system whereby you pump this up. Now they do say you have to do this a number of times. So you're pumping this up probably 15 to 20 times. It's creating pressure in the bowl at the top here. Then the grey button around the front of the toilet here we press, and it actually releases the air, pushes the water into the bowl and flushes it away. So it requires a few more pumps, but kind of gives that impression of a normal, I guess, flush at home. When you press that button, the water goes into the bowl and everything disappears. So just moving down further on the back of the units here. Now both Thetfords have the same wastewater tank on the bottom here. So I'm just going to compare the Dometic and the Thetford here for you. At the back here, Thetford have got this little lever here that we pull to release the top unit, and Dometic have another slightly different lever here that you can pull that also releases the top unit. Now you can transport these separately like this if you like. The main idea of this is that you can leave this at your campsite, and this is your wastewater tank that you can take to the sullage point to get rid of your waste. Now you can see that this one is considerably bigger than this one here. It's the benefit of using a larger toilet. I mean, firstly, you've got a larger thing to transport, but you've also got a lot more waste before you need to empty it. So that's another difference that you probably want to consider with your purchase. Now these are pretty much the same thing. They're hermetically sealed, so they're airtight. They've both got a handle on the back here, so it's easy to carry this to your wastewater point to get rid of it. And they both have a little breather port, so that when you spin this around and take this cap off of either of these and tip it out, the breather port allows air to come in the top here and a nice clean flow of waste out the end here. You don't really want that splashing too much when you're standing there. Now, Dometic use a little switch here, open close switch, as a breather to allow that air to escape in as the waste is poured out, whereas Thetford use a little push button here that you've got to hold in as you're tipping everything out. Now, the other thing you'll need to consider if you're using this type of toilet are the chemicals that you're going to put in there. Now, there's chemicals that go in the flush water tank. So this goes in the fresh water that flushes the waste down into the wastewater tank. This helps to keep things clean, smelling nice, and also lubricates the seals and everything on the bottom unit. You'll also need chemicals for the wastewater tank. Now, Thetford have two different types here, and Dometic also have their own versions of these. So there's a wastewater tank one and a flush water tank one there. Now, the wastewater tank actually breaks down the waste that's in there and makes it easier to dispose of later. There are also tabs available depending on how you want to travel, and there are other products on the market too. You can check a heap of them on our website at snowies.com.au. Another thing to consider might be a carry bag. These are canvas carry bags. These ones here, a nice stiff one here with a PVC base. They're good to store your toilet also if you get a few leaks or anything. If it does happen to happen, they're contained within the bag there. It's got a PVC base, so it's easy to clean. I hope that helps you in your endeavours to choose a camp toilet for your next outing. You can grab all of these products you've seen today and more on our website at snowies.com.au. If you've got any questions, let us know down in the comments below. If you want to subscribe to our channel and get more great information like this, follow this link up here or head here for some more useful videos.